All right, official warm welcome. Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday night. Thank you for being here instead of watching the Super Bowl. So we had well over 100 people register, but not 100 people decided to show up. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you, everybody. My name is Matthew Brownstein. In case you don't know, I'm the founder and lead instructor of the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. We do have a class that's starting on February the 10th. So that's part of why we're doing this introductory webinar to the work, yet never just promotional, definitely about what's in it for you. So tonight we'll go through a PowerPoint that talks about what is interpersonal hypnotherapy, how does it relate specifically to health, wealth, and enlightenment, what are all the free resources available for you to look into those themes. And then after we go through the overall presentation, and I'd love to introduce once we get to it, our dear Luis Gallardo from the World Happiness Foundation, and also Pau and Jose, who are part of that team, who are now with us collaborating as part of our team. And Paula, good to see you. So welcome, everyone. Awesome. So yeah, let's just jump in. I'll let you know more about who I am and what we're all about as we move through. And again, I'd love for you to get a lot out of this tonight beyond just learning about who we are and what we're all about. So yeah, feel free to use the chat pod, ask any questions, and let's dive in. So interpersonal hypnotherapy is a path of health, wealth, and enlightenment. I hope you'll stop and take a breath for a moment and just be with those ideas. I remember when I was listening to a Deepak Chopra audio cassette many years ago, and it was called Creating Affluence. And he was listing the letters A to Z, and he was giving words for each of those letters. Like A is abundance. And he said, you really don't have to do anything about these terms. You just need to put your attention on them. So I invite you now, as we're moving into the space together, to think about how could you use your mind to achieve greater health, wealth, and enlightenment? And why would those be so important? My personal mission statement does relate, I won't go into the whole thing now, but part of it is definitely to bring health, wealth, and enlightenment for myself as others. It used to be for myself and others, yet there's a space that I've gotten to, and I'm sure a lot of you have, where you start realizing we're not alone in this, right? Where we're in it together, right? But deeper than that, we're all one. And I know that's a cliche, but cliches become cliches because they're true, right? We're all one being. You're like my left hand, I'm like my right hand, or I'm the right hand, you're the left hand. It's just all part of one being, right? And if my left hand has health, wealth, and enlightenment, so does my right hand. The more you have it, the more I have it. The more we share it, the more we strengthen it. So thank you for being here tonight to just strengthen these ideas. I don't claim anything as far as certain state of health, wealth, or enlightenment. I like to think we're all improving in those categories. Yet the idea is to put our attention on it. Beyond that, how does hypnotherapy help us to achieve greater states of health, wealth, and enlightenment? And beyond that, what is interpersonal hypnotherapy? So that's what we'll be spending some time with tonight. Our primary company is called Anahat Education Group. Anahat is the heart. So as we're being together here now, I encourage you to focus in your heart. Maybe take a couple of breaths and ask, why is the heart so important? Beyond our conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind, right? You've got that thing in your head that talks and analyzes and plans and jumps to the past and jumps to the future. Wonderful. However, when we get the mind, present moment awareness, right here now, we realize we really don't have to think our way through life, at least in the present moment. We can let, and I invite you to do this, to let your mind get calm, let your mind settle. Anahat is the heart chakra. Its symbol is a six-pointed star. And it's not just a Jewish symbol. You actually find it in every world spiritual, wisdom, religious tradition, one way or another. The ascending triangle, you might say, relates to your movement into spirit or your movement into enlightenment, climbing the metaphorical mountain of self-realization. That's beautiful. I would think anybody here is on the path to whatever degree, right? And nobody here, self included, needs to claim anything, just to say, hey, we're on the path. There is a path. Where does the path go and what is it all about? The descending triangle helps us to understand what it's all about. So there's so much meaning in these symbols. However, ascending you could consider is basically the movement into self-realization. Descending could be said to be entering the marketplace with helping hands. When you come back into this world to be of service. And a lot of us who are here, you might feel, I really want to help the world. I want to make the world a better place. However, I don't have a career to do that, right? And so for me, hypnotherapy is a way where heart-centered, meaningful, important, transformational work allows us to go into the world, in the marketplace with helping hands, and actually to have a beautiful career doing it. So the wealth theme is actually, at least through our school, just teaching people how to start with a really solid financial foundation, right? If you do the math on, how much could you make in private practice if you were out there helping the world? A lot of our graduates post on our website in the member directory 130 to 150 per hour. I'm not saying how much you can make in this profession, but if you're considering hypnotherapy as a profession or as an adjunct to an existing profession, I hope you'll open to the idea of how could wealth come about by being of service to other people in truly meaningful ways. So the descending path has to do with being a grounded, functional, healthy human being, someone who can pay their taxes, who's financially free, who's loving their life, who's traveling, who's manifesting the great things you'd want out of life. It's a little overview of it. There's a big history here, but we don't have time for that. But eventually, Anahat Meditation Center became Anahat Education Group, and it became the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy as one branch, and the International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists as another branch. We've also, relatively recently, merged forces with the World Happiness Foundation. Our dear Luis Gallardo is actually here tonight, along with some other wonderful WHF team players. And if you go to YouTube, this video, 10 billion happy by 2050, you can just type it into YouTube, you'll find it. I invite you to just listen to it once. It's meant to help to align the mind that we all eventually see 10 billion people happy on the planet by 2050. Lewis and I have joined forces in this way because for them to reach that goal, for us as a collective to reach that goal, I think we're on the same page that health, wealth, and enlightenment are really important, right? I asked Lewis, what do you mean by happy? Are we all just walking around smiling all the time? Is it just this toxic positivity? Like, what do you mean by happy? And Lewis and I realized we're on the same page. Happy could be said to be, let's see a world that's healthier, wealthier, more enlightened, and just generally happier, right? Lewis, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself? Anything you want to share?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, when you feel aligned, I feel that everything flows in a really natural way, and that's the way I personally feel that we can walk that path to enlightenment. So I think that having a big goal like 10 billion, which is the number of people that are going to be in the planet by 2050, happy, free, and conscious, requires not leaving anybody behind and actually going through the path of healing. And that's why when I became a hypnotherapist myself, through Matthew's school and through the institute, and I started actually becoming a practitioner and seeing so many clients and seeing the miracle of healing in sometimes even just one session, just unblocking energy blocks that we can have, or reframing basically patterns that we've been nurturing unconsciously forever, and even in past lives. You realize that if we really want to get into the happiness that we all see and feel that we can achieve in the world, we have to do, and we have to help people transform. I think that the connection of collective healing, when we have a world of with collective trauma, we have to play at multiple levels, and one is the collective, and the other one is individual. So I think that when you discover how profound, how deep you can get into healing through hypnotherapy, you say, okay, this is the path. So let's get as many professionals as we can, because that will be incredible path. We have a theory of change about impacting 25 million. So, to get to 10 billion, we need 25 million people that can help 400 people each in 25 years. So actually the math really works when you basically train 1,000 hypnotherapists that can see 15 clients per week. So actually it's so interesting how you can get to this super big number by actually doing one-on-one sessions with many people going through real transformation. So I think that that's why we are here together. That's why we have so many people joining this webinar, and I'm sure that the training and many other sessions as part of the Life Mastery program that Matthew is offering as well every other week. And I just want to say thank you because co-creation and doing things together is much more powerful than basically doing things alone. So I think that maximizes the potential that we all have, to heal, to transform, and to create a world of happiness for all.
Beautiful. Thank you, Louis. I so appreciate you, and I appreciate you mentioning the goal of the Institute is 1,000 graduates seeing 15 or more full-paying clients per week. We actually have that. We have over 1,000 graduates, but I want to be able to measure it. And we have a new clinic we're rolling out, which will really give us the opportunity to do so. So yeah, thank you, because I love being aligned with you in that vision. So yeah, let's keep moving on. So we are enrolling for the next hypnotherapy training on February the 10th. That happens online. And if you're interested in person in Orlando, Florida. And like I said, I don't want this to be overly promotional. So let me offer you a whole lot of free resources. On our website, instituteofhypnotherapy.com, the free hypnotherapy care package has 6 different meditations for life mastery. It programs overall success in every category of your life. And then there's hypnotic programming for your spirituality, your mental emotional health, your physical health, your career and finances, and your relationships. We have a podcast, the Life Mastery class. I'll show you the graphic in a moment. Every 2 weeks, as Lewis mentioned, a free class, 20 classes outlined for this year, going deep into spiritual themes, but based on success in every aspect of your life. Those classes are there for free under free resources on our website. There's a blog, onlinemonastery.com, has over 60 hours of free meditation certification training, or just meditation training. There's dozens and dozens of guided meditations on YouTube, but you can find them on our website. And Anne Marie, who's here, has these wonderful community support groups she's doing with us. So thank you, Paula. It's been good to have you with us in the class. Awesome. So those are some good free resources. Here is that class. It started on January the 18th. So we're dedicating this whole year to using the power of the mind through community, coming together to have a world that's filled with more health, wealth, and enlightenment. Let's take a little dive into the history of hypnosis to give you a sense of why we're doing what we're doing. Now, we can't do the entire history. I'll try to do this in 5 minutes or less. So usually when you research the history of hypnosis, you hear about these ancient sleep temples in Greece specifically, but other places around the world. People would go into these sacred sites, and some of them were supposedly in caves or temples that kind of were built around a cave because it would cause altered states, perhaps because of the gases that were in the cave, or just these places that had this profound energy. So either way, whatever these structures were, whatever made them do what they do, including altered, substances that could cause altered states, people were realizing the benefits of trance or altered states for centuries. I mean, we know yogis, we see pictures of people in meditation and cold stone carvings like 5,000 years ago. So why? Why did the Buddha sit under the bo tree? Why did he just meditate? How come he didn't, I don't know, build barns? He could have said, I'm going to just start, I'm going to be a carpenter. Jesus was, like, why did Buddha just sit? He went into what you might call an altered state, but the state that Buddha achieved was basically presence. They said, what happened to you when you woke up, when you became Buddha? Like, what happened when you reached enlightenment? He said, I just woke up. Woke up to what? woke up to who we truly are. So you might say we're all in altered states, or you could call it the egoic trance. In fact, what we sometimes hear in the field of hypnotherapy is a nice line that I love when I hear people use it. I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to wake you up. So if we hold that idea, it's not that we're using hypnosis to cause sleep, or even the term somnambulism, which is part of the whole history. We're here to basically utilize this state to help you to wake up to who you are and to actualize your full potential. But to understand the topic of healing tonight, let's just look at Mesmer briefly. Around the 18th century or so, in Vienna and in Paris, Mesmer was a physician and he was using magnets to try to heal people. He would rub the magnets over their body and he felt there was an imbalance of the animal magnetism, the life force energy. He was seeing pretty profound results actually with these magnetic passes, as they were called. But one day he forgot his magnets and he said, well, I believe I have the animal magnetism in me as well. Let me use my hands and try to get the same results. And he did. He got the same results. The conclusion was it wasn't the magnets, it was the energy, the life force, the chi, the shakti, the prana, the reiki coming through him. However, Ben Franklin, Dr. Joseph Guillotine, and a bunch of other scientists and medical doctors studied Mesmer, and they said this man is not healing through the power of energy or animal magnetism. He's healing through the power of belief, suggestion, imagination, and imitation. People are imitating the results they're supposed to see. It's the power of the mind. It's just belief. It's only the power of suggestion and imagination. That put a nail in Mesmer's coffin, basically, where he lost all the respect of almost anybody. Not everybody, but a lot of the medical and scientific community just wanted to hear nothing of this. It wasn't founded on science, and therefore it just didn't get the traction that it could have gotten. Mesmerism didn't totally fall out of favor. It just didn't become what it could have. After about, we're talking 100 years or so, Dr. James Braid coined the term hypnosis, where he said, we can get the same results that Mesmer was getting, but if we call it something else and we say it's just the power of suggestion, then it could become more accepted scientifically in the mainstream. So Dr. James Braid helped us to have the term hypnosis and to start using just the power of suggestion. However, we lost something really important, which is the idea of energy, right? Anybody who knows about chakras, meridians, my background is Chinese medicine. You can't tell me, Chinese medical practitioner, that there's no energy. You couldn't tell a Reiki practitioner. Tell her, Anne Marie's here. She's a Reiki master. You couldn't tell her, no, there's no energy. It's only through the power of suggestion. So we kind of lost that, but there's ways that we bring it back into our school. Anyway, in the whole history, which is the brief version here, my dearest mentor, Mr. Gilboyne, who founded the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners, actually helped me to open our school. Then he passed away a few years after that. Gil was a pioneer in using hypnosis to, so first of all, to use the hypnotic state, but to regress people to the root cause of problems. He wasn't the first one at all to do that, but he started pioneering new ways of letting the regressions become much more powerful. When I started learning Gilboyne's style of hypnosis and getting to meet with him and train with him, it was fascinating to see the incredible shifts that would occur when you got to root cause. Now, when Gil passed away, we started kind of branching out on our own. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to stand on the shoulders of this giant. We're doing something unique. We're doing something different. So our school was founded after Gilboyne's help with called the Florida Institute of Hypnotherapy. However, I realized the vision is much bigger than Florida. So we called it the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy, and our association became the International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists. The idea is this is a global movement, not just our humble origins in Florida anymore. But tonight we'll go into why did this go so much deeper? Like what has it become compared to, the movement through the years? So let's talk about what is hypnosis. We define hypnosis as a natural yet altered state of mind. So natural means it's not drug induced. Altered just means it's different from your regular waking consciousness. If I say, which I'll do now, just take a breath in, close your eyes, just relax for a moment. So first of all, you didn't have to do that, right? You didn't have to close your eyes, but if you choose to, realize it's your choice. So one thing about hypnosis is it's a choice. It's not something that's is forced upon you. When people say, "Oh, you're gonna make me cluck like a chicken," right? That's all that stuff. Nobody can make you do anything. But take a moment and close your eyes. Just take a breath or two, natural, yet altered. When you start slowing down, when you simply watch your breath, when you bring your attention more and more into the present moment, something starts to change. Something becomes different. Something is not going to be as it was. Beyond just the altered state that we can keep moving into, we talk about responsiveness with the subconscious mind. So if I say right now, notice how much more calm you feel with every easy breath that you breathe. You don't have to take that suggestion, but remember, you wouldn't want to reject good suggestions that help you to feel better now. So watch how each breath in the moment moves you from your mind down to your heart. You don't have to drop into your heart and think to yourself, open, but you might find it's a little gift to yourself tonight to turn within, to focus in your heart, to take a breath, and to think, open. Good. When you're welcome to open your eyes or keep them closed, whatever works for you. All right, so what is hypnosis? We define it as a natural yet altered state of mind where there's a degree of responsiveness from the subconscious. Not just your conscious mind, but your subconscious, your deep inner mind, that which motivates your behaviors. We say the subconscious is the dynamo that directs life force energy. It's the seat of your beliefs, it's the seat of your emotions. When it's not in harmony, when it's not aligned with your greatest good, then what we find is basically we're struggling and fighting against ourself. You could say we need to reprogram the subconscious mind to have better outputs. Beyond the programming theme, though, then we go into hypnotherapy. So, what is hypnotherapy? Why do we have to go beyond just hypnosis? So, hypnotherapy, just so you know, is an actual profession. We are licensed by the Florida Department of Education to offer legitimate career diplomas in the field. And I'll show you how that breaks down in a moment. But if anybody ever tells you, oh, you can't be a hypnotherapist, that's not true. There's no prior degrees required. However, every state in the United States will have its own laws, and every country will have its own laws. We founded the IAIH. These are pictures from our most recent conference. And through the IAIH, we monitor US state law, and gradually we'll keep monitoring other countries' laws. But I can tell you definitely in the United States, you can be a hypnotherapist. But again, if you're interested, and depending what state you live in, ask us some questions about state laws so you can be sure you're operating safely. But the difference between basic hypnosis and hypnotherapy is that when we talk hypnosis, we're basically talking about the altered state and hypnotic programming. But when we talk about hypnotherapy, we're talking about powerful transformational modalities that actually get into the subconscious mind and make change on deeper levels. So, for instance, a hypnotic regression to childhood would be in the category of hypnotherapy. We don't just put you in hypnosis and talk to your subconscious. We put you in hypnosis and talk with the subconscious. That's where the real change occurs. And it's a big part of what Gil Boyne was pioneering, not just putting someone in and programming. Freud was doing that before he founded psychoanalysis. He was actually using hypnosis. But Freud himself realized just suggestions don't work. You can't just put someone in hypnosis and say, now you're happy. It doesn't necessarily work. But with hypnotherapy, we can transform the parts of the mind that aren't happy and help bring people to where they truly want to be. That's the very brief overview of what it takes 500 plus hours to train our students in. So, what is interpersonal hypnotherapy? What's the difference? This is very hard to unpack, but I'll tell you the brief story of how it came about. I was sitting in meditation one night and I was saying to higher wisdom. What is hypnotherapy? What's the essence of this work? My whole life has become around this. So what's the essence of it? And I said, is it transpersonal? Is this a path that's meant to bring people to enlightenment, to self-realization? Is that the essence of the work? And the voice of higher wisdom said, yes, it is, but it's also interpersonal. And it was one of those eureka moments. It was just, God, it really is. So transpersonal, if you think of these triangles again, you might see if you're at the bottom and you have a connection to what you might call higher power, source, spirit, God, oversoul, whatever you call it, you have a connection to something bigger than you. And if you haven't tapped into that, I hope tonight inspires you to tap into that. So our direct connection to who we truly are, our Buddha nature, your true nature, you as spirit. Again, everybody has a different way to say it, but we're all saying it one way or another. Those who know understand the essence of every human being is peace, love, joy, oneness, bliss. Find that in yourself. We call that the core state. If you haven't found it yet, I hope this encourages you to seek within. It's not outside of you, right? What you're looking for is found within. Once you find it in you, all you want to do is give it away. That's the horizontal path. So you might say the vertical path is your direct connection to source. The horizontal path is your connection to others. Interpersonal hypnotherapy is honoring the sacred and transformational relationships. That's the difference. So this isn't just a series of new techniques, although there are techniques we've pioneered in the school for sure. The difference is using principles. Everybody can learn a technique, right? We could all learn parts therapy. It's not super difficult to learn how to do parts therapy and hypnosis, where we talk to different parts of the psyche. But if we do it without deep spiritual awareness, if we do it without knowing where to bring the parts of the psyche, then we could say we're doing hypnotherapy, but not necessarily interpersonal hypnotherapy. Interpersonal hypnotherapy has as its foundation the movement to enlightenment. Why would that be so important? My background beyond Chinese medicine is actually in college. I was a philosopher and a religious scholar. And I kept asking, how do we become free? How do we become happy? What are the deep teachings? What are like what's life all about? And I realized that the enlightened state that the great saints and sages have achieved is all we need. If everybody, or as Lewis said, if we can get 25 billion, 25 million who can actually start facilitating, we could potentially have 10 billion happy. So again, the model that we're all in it together, and that's the interpersonal component, right? We honor how important humans are in this equation. So it's very heart-centered, human, deeply spiritual work with the movement towards self-realization and the importance of relationships. Because without community, we're not going to get there, right? Without cooperation, we're not going to get there. And we do see certain countries being much more divisive right now. Other countries, other leaders are working towards creating more oneness and harmony. Tonight, we'll look at a quote from A Course in Miracles. And the simple thing, we're going to look at it, but I'll say the conclusion of that one slide we're going to get to is the solution is oneness. If you haven't caught on to that, I hope you'll reflect on it. And I'm not here saying I'm right. I'm just quoting A Course in Miracles that I totally believe. The problem is we feel separate from each other. The solution is oneness. Interpersonal hypnotherapy is every session is rooted in the reestablishment of oneness. If you, let me speak personally, I don't want that to sound at all condescending. I realized if I could bring every client to their true self, to that enlightened state of beingness, presence, oneness, their problem would be solved. That was my basic premise when I was a philosophy of religion major. I tried Chinese medicine to do that because I knew it was about the energy. But somehow, why is the energy blocked? Why do we have these energy blockages? Why do chakras close? Why do meridians get blocked? Why did Mesmer feel the need to use the magnets to move the energy? Yeah, there's energy that gets blocked, but what's blocking it? The mind. Once you catch on that the mind is what's blocking the energy, which many chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, Reiki practitioners, like all roads basically lead back to the mind. It's not spirit that needs to be enlightened because spirit's already enlightened. It's not the body that needs to be enlightened because the body is too dense. But the mind itself is what can be enlightened. a career that focuses just on the mind and the deep inner mind, your heart, that knows how to heal and transform that is incredibly, incredibly rewarding. So, with that said, we have five main sections of our training, and I won't spend much time with this. I prefer to teach than to promote. But just so you know, 100 hours is the hypnotist level. That's basic hypnotic programming, but learning how to induce hypnosis, how to deepen the state, how to test for the state. Beyond that, a hypnotherapist, thank you, Alexandra. Um, Beyond that, a hypnotherapist is trained with powerful transformational modalities. In our school, that's your first level of a state licensed diploma where you have legitimate degrees backed by the Department of Education. And it helps you to have some very powerful tools to help others. The clinical training goes into the medical, clinical healing component of the work. So we'll talk tonight about healing the mind to heal the body. And a big part of what the clinical component is that healing the mind to heal the body. Transpersonal goes way beyond just past life regression and life between life regression. Here we tap into the deep spiritual teachings. I've lived for 5 years of my life in monasteries and ashrams in the Himalayas in India. And I just became fanatical about how can we use the power of spirit and mind to help to heal the world. Past life regression is wonderful because my experience is there are past life memories in the subconscious. And if you don't access those, they're still the root cause of suffering. But beyond that, transpersonal is all about the movement into enlightened consciousness when it comes down to it. So health, wealth, and enlightenment. And again, we'll talk about all three tonight. And then interpersonal hypnotherapy goes into rapid resolution protocols that I've developed over the years. But beyond just new techniques, it talks about the importance of ethics, precepts, values, principles, HIPAA compliance, opening the heart. The deepest teachings that I believe our school offers become part of the interpersonal training itself to synthesize all of that information into the whole of who you are, which means I'm not just teaching you how to do what I do. I'm teaching you how to do all that you do, but to synthesize it with what the school and our other teachers are offering. For instance, Lewis is starting a life coaching training through us this year. Soon, probably within a month or two, you can be a ICF certified coach through our school. So this isn't just only hypnosis, just saying honor the power of the mind, honor the power of spirit, and get as much training as you can to get out there and help to heal the world. But I would say, even though we are a school, stop getting educated and just get out there and train and heal people. If you don't have the skills, get some skills. But I can tell you, the 500 plus hours we offer in this school is enough to make a huge difference in the world and to have a really wonderful profession doing it. There's only one problem and only one solution, A Course in Miracles. The problem is separation. The solution is oneness. That's what I was alluding to before. But what do you mean? What do we mean by separation here? You might say, well, I'm separate from you right now. But that's the illusion. We're not separate. Our minds are joined, right? Every positive thought I have affects you. Every positive thought you have affects me. Every negative thought you have affects me and everyone else. A Course in Miracles teaches when you're healed, you're not healed alone. Think of it like a spider web turned on its side with all the strands hanging down. If one strand is neurotic, the whole web vibrates with that neurosis and affects all the other strands. If one strand is calm, content, successful, wealthy, at peace, it's going to affect the whole. When enough of us get it, the critical mass will help a lot more people to feel that as well. The basic theme here that we'll get into tonight, and again, I want this to be more teachings than anything, is helping you to prioritize yourself. The Dalai Lama was asked, "What do you do?" And he said, "What do you mean?" It wasn't a Tibetan type question. They said, "What do you do? Like, what's your job?" He said, "I guess I do nothing," which is the deepest answer. And then they said, "No, come on, like, what do you do for the average person? Give us an answer." He said, "I guess I just take care of number one." The path of the Bodhisattva, the path of those who've dedicated their lives to transforming and healing this world, actually prioritizes the self. If you're not enlightened, how do you give it? If you're not wealthy, how do you give it? If you're not healthy, how do you give it? I'm encouraging you tonight, no matter where this class takes you, prioritizing you, your health, your wealth, your enlightenment. And if you have issues with any of those words, like wealth, right? Some people don't want health. We'll talk about that in a moment. Some people don't want wealth. They have issues with that. But the problem is, think about how much suffering there is when people aren't healthy. All right, sickness is a huge source of suffering. Buddha was all about let's just relieve suffering, right? Like however we can do it. If people are healthier, there's less suffering. If people are wealthier, there's less suffering. And if people are enlightened, that was Buddha's probably biggest conclusion. That's the way we're going to relieve suffering. The enlightened state of consciousness is a state of oneness consciousness. My dear teacher in India, you would call it absolute bliss consciousness. And it's not that hard to tap into. Let's talk about healing. So, for years, when I was in my full time private practice before I opened the school, I gave lectures called Healing the Mind, Healing the Body. So again, my background is before this is Chinese medicine. So I wanted to know how can we remove the, as A Course in Miracles says, the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. How do we heal? Let me offer one thought that comes from A Course in Miracles now, as again, I want to gift and bless you in any way I can. A Course in Miracles says, I get nothing out of sickness. I would encourage you right now, take a breath. If there's something going on in your body, I get nothing out of this. I get nothing out of sickness. I don't need it. I don't want it. It doesn't serve me. One of the things we can do quite well in hypnotherapy is find what's called the secondary gain, also known as a negative payoff. So ask yourself this, if you're struggling with any health condition, what do I get out of having this problem? And humor yourself, humor me to that. There might be an answer because some people are like, no, no, I get nothing out of this. My chronic fatigue syndrome, what do I get out of that? Uh, well, I don't have to go to work. I don't have to deal with taxes. I don't have to mow the lawn. I don't have to, right? There's all these things like, why would you want to be overweight? I don't have to date other people. I don't have to bother to exercise. I get to have excuses for. Look for secondary gains as just one hint tonight of how you could help to restore, using your mind to restore health in your body. Beyond that, we can program in things like you're eating healthy, you're exercising regularly. I love helping clients. Just the basic weight loss protocols are great because we don't just say lose weight. We say start exercising in an effective, safe, healthy way. Start doing more yoga, get some more flexibility in your life, right? Do things that take care of number one, right? Take care of your body. You can program that in. However, then there's the root cause of the problem. Here, is a chart that I never said I would give to our students, but we started to. So here it is for you guys. That when I said I would never give this chart, um, what I mean is here you'll see the list of belief systems. I want our students to know how to identify beliefs without us having to give the list. But we gave the list and we're going to use it here for this class. There are four main emotions that humans tend to deal with. The first one is hurt, and it's basically going to be sadness. When the child gets hurt, they get sad. When the child gets hurt and sad, they start getting scared. When you start getting scared enough, you become angry, right? You're going to try to destroy that which is attacking you or hurting you. And then eventually you feel guilt, which is a whole big topic. But these are the four main emotions we focus on in this school. These aren't bad. However, holding on to them and keeping this stuff trapped inside creates tremendous suffering, right? Fear just can ruin your life. Anger can destroy relationships. Guilt is a great way to make yourself sick. And I'll actually show you from a Chinese medical perspective how the organs are affected by these emotions. So we want to transform this stuff, not suppress it and deny it, but transform it. Positive, the movement towards happiness can't be a suppression of negative emotions. The teachings in the school are about opening the heart, transforming what's in the subconscious, and bringing every part of the psyche to happiness, love, joy, confidence, feeling safe. Try this right now. Just take a breath and think, I'm safe. Just focus at your heart, take a breath. I'm safe. Breathe into your belly because your vagus nerve, you push your belly out a little bit, it's called vagus nerve stimulation. And basically tell yourself by focusing your belly and your heart, I'm safe. Your subconscious gets caught in fight or flight mode. But when you know you're safe, it's a very different life experience. We want to get every part of the psyche to feel that. Any part of you that feels unsafe is going to cause a fear response. That can all be transformed. It's not that you shouldn't feel fear, because you do. However, we can always question why it's there and transform it back to love. Because essentially, there's only two emotions. In Course in Miracles, there's fear and love. There's basically your ego, and then there's spirit. Again, the solution is just the return to spirit. We need to do that with the beliefs as well. Could you imagine someone who was just born, or let's imagine spirit in a pure white room? There's nothing but pure consciousness and nothingness, just white, just light. And you said, I'm unlovable. I'm unwanted. I'm nothing. I'm worthless. I'm not important. I'm not valuable. I'm just a bad person. I'm stupid, dumb, and ugly. I'm not good enough. I'm incapable, incompetent, powerless, and trapped. There's more. I'm stuck. I'm out of control. I'm a victim. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I'm dirty and disgusting and insignificant. I've been doing this work for 30 years now, and I can tell you every client who walks in has a list of these beliefs. Lovingly, respectfully, that's not enlightened. I was once doing yoga. I was teaching a friend, and it was early when I was in the bliss bunny stage where you feel so much bliss, you're just kind of rolling on the floor in ecstasy. Eventually, that matures. But during this stage of just feeling incredible light and love and bliss and peace, I was literally just on the floor in ecstasy, teaching just a friend to do yoga. Again, not the most mature stage of growth, but he looked at me and everything was just pure light. And he looked at me, he goes, "Lucky you, I'm such a loser." I wrote in my journal that night, I swear I was looking at God telling me he was a loser. What I mean is, like, imagine if Buddha came up to you and said, I'm such a loser, right? Imagine like a great being, the best person you've met, and that person comes up and goes, I'm just worthless and stupid. I'll never amount to anything. You're like, oh my God, that error, those errors in your mind are the worst thing you could be doing for yourself. So, what we can do with hypnotherapy is transform every single negative belief, not just into positive thinking, but into the truth of who we really are. That's part of the enlightenment process. In A Course in Miracles, we go from wrong ideas to right ideas to true awakening, right? The ego's nightmare to the ego's happy dream, eventually to true knowledge, true awareness of who you really are. If hypnotherapy, and it can, as hypnotherapy can do that when done with these intentions, we become part of the great crusade to eliminate all error, as A Course in Miracles talks about. The great crusade to eliminate all error. That's what's called the plan for the atonement or the at-one-ment. How do we get everybody to experience oneness consciousness again? Only the mind needs to be healed for that to occur, right? Only the mind is in need of healing. Every one of these beliefs in every human being eventually is going to have to be brought to consciousness and transformed. But how many professions really do that? Psychotherapy, definitely holds space for that kind of thing, but a lot of professions don't even touch it. The beauty about hypnotherapy, especially interpersonal hypnotherapy, we focus right on it. Why? Well, let's look at the health model. From a Chinese medical perspective, actually, I can jump ahead for a sec. Let's switch the order of those slides. Past events happen to you, right? Things happen, and those become your memories. You've got a lot of those in there, right? You've got memories in your subconscious mind. Those hold your beliefs. So dad came home drunk, he hit you, it made you feel worthless, bad, stupid, unlovable, and unsafe. That makes you feel scared and sad and hurt and angry. And then, of course, guilty because your dad's voice is in your head telling you how bad you are, right? That's pretty much where guilt comes from. It's called a parent-child conflict. It's deeper than that, but on a basic level, you got an inner parent in there telling your inner child how bad he or she is. Um, so this inner attack, it's called a parent-child conflict. It's rooted in guilt. We can transform all of this, and again, we're doing it in a profession that doesn't require other degrees. There's therapeutic and non-therapeutic hypnosis, but honestly, right now, we're talking in the realm of non-therapeutic hypnosis. Meaning we're not dealing with mental health conditions, we're not dealing with medical conditions, we're not dealing with dental conditions, but there are laws that allow hypnotherapists to do that when done properly. So be sure you ask about law as you start getting into this profession, because when we say healing, you definitely have to understand the laws of the profession and how you can legally help people to heal their bodies and heal their minds. Anyway, we'll get into the legalities, in our training itself. But for now, know that past events lead to beliefs, lead to emotions. Those lead to our behaviors. You get angry, you grab a cigarette, right? You feel sad, you turn to ice cream, right? People do destructive behaviors because of their negative emotions. That could all be healed. But also, these suppressed emotions, keyword is suppressed, leads to psychosomatic illness. If you want to be part of helping people to heal their bodies, then focus on the spirit mind level. When I was in Chinese medical college, I've been through two different ones. One of the books I read said, it's actually the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Chinese Medicine, the lesser level physician heals the body. The mid-level physician heals the energy body. The highest level physician heals the spirit mind. And I'm like in my early 20s. I'm like, I want to be the highest level physician. Once I found hypnotherapy, I'm like, that's it. I'm not putting needles in people. For acupuncture, as beautiful as that profession is, that's not addressing the mind. Herbs don't really address the mind, right? I'm well trained in herbology, but it doesn't heal the mind. In A Course in Miracles, that would be called a magic principle, using something outside of yourself to heal. It's okay. I'm not against drugs, medications, homeopathies, like great, herbs, like uh, crystals, like you name it. It's all fine. However, I always go back to the idea that only the mind needs to be healed. I have helped so many clients heal their body. I can't even go through the whole list now of the things I've seen healed through this understanding. Here's part of what motivated my shift from Chinese medicine. In Chinese medicine, anxiety absolutely affects the heart. They also say joy, but that's usually not a problem. So the anxiety feeling affects the heart. The lungs are definitely affected by sadness and grief. Fear affects the kidneys. Overthinking and worry affects the spleen, stomach, pancreas system. The spleen in Chinese medicine is not quite the same as the way it's spoken of in the West. So basically, it's saying your digestion is going to be compromised. When we get stuck in fight or flight mode, digestion gets compromised and the immune system gets compromised. In Chinese medicine, there's something called Wei Qi. It is the immune system, the energetic immune system. And when we have sadness and grief and hurt and fear, the two main systems that are getting robbed are your immune system and your digestive system. How do we heal the mind to heal the body? Get people back into joy, get people back into self-love and forgiveness, open the heart, get the mind quiet, forgive and let go of anger. If anger is affecting the liver, and what does that mean for the average person who doesn't have Chinese medical background? The liver in Chinese medicine disperses the healthy flow of blood through your body. Again, Chinese medicine, not Western medicine. In Chinese medicine, the when the liver qi gets stagnant, the blood doesn't flow as well. What does that usually lead to? Quite often for women, painful menses. Open the heart, move the energy in the liver, get that anger out of there. And I don't mean it's bad. I mean, we can transform it, we can forgive, we can return to peace and love. That will automatically cause the body to get into a better state of health. This work is adjunctive. It's a complementary path. It's not replacing Western medicine or psychology or psychiatry or any of that. It just says there's ways that we can help and we could work alongside licensed practitioners with this kind of work. That's where the legality comes in. When you get referrals and supervision and direction from licensed practitioners, you work with them to help heal the world. That's incredibly rewarding. All right, so that's a little bit about healing. Let's spend some time on wealth. So, the Life Mastery Path, we have this free course every other Sunday. So, next Sunday, we'll be diving in again, no charge. And we'll frequently get back into wealth consciousness themes. So, let's dive into it a little. What do we mean by wealth? Is it having Lear jets? That's not mine, but that's me. This is actually a fun picture representing I had a graduate who was dating a billionaire, and she said, he really needs some help. Can you help him out? I'm like, I guess, and he's like, he'll fly, you on the Learjet to his mansion. So I spent 4 days with this billionaire, got paid $10,000 to do 4 days of hypnotherapy on someone. Um, but is wealth just having $1 billion? I would suggest not at all, right? I would encourage you to just listen to your heart. What do you mean by wealth? Is it just money? Well, no. What is wealth? One way we could define it, and we could use our mind to get there, our life categories prioritized. I do this exercise frequently with students, with clients. It's part of our life mastery course. Imagine using your mind to achieve success in every one of these categories. And I'd encourage you to ask yourself now, just a compassionate little self-evaluation, how far along do you feel you are in your spiritual path? Can you close your eyes and legitimately within yourself feel peace, love, light, bliss, oneness, and divine guidance? If you got that, check. Right? Now, there's other ways to describe it, but really, if spirituality isn't feeling the presence of spirit, then it could be in a category of what we call spiritual ego or spiritual bypassing, or just how a lot of people start the path. Great. If you're on the path, it's the spiritual path. Yet, what are the end results of deep spiritual practice? Again, if your insides are not peace, bliss, light, love, joy, oneness, and the connection to guidance and mission and purpose, then I would just encourage you to keep going in the path because the end result is always going to be of service to others, but it is your own wholeness being complete within yourself. I prioritize these and encourage you to prioritize your spirituality above all else. That doesn't seem to be what people do, right? And if the way to understand that is how many hours a day do you spend in your spirituality, right? If it's the most important thing, do we even do 5 minutes morning and evening? So that's the recommendation. 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes evening, spend some time on it. As you feel more bliss, spend more time. As you're feeling more light and love, more time. I literally spend hours a day in meditation. Today was probably 5 hours of spiritual practice because I've come to realize that is the most important thing. And anytime you feel like you're getting off, you're losing your center, you're getting not happy, find your source again. It's always the way to go. Beyond that, mental emotional health is a huge part of the work. Now, what we do in this process, the Life Mastery course, is we subcategorize these. So your spirituality, what do you do to help to nurture that? Do you meditate? Do you pray? Do you read scripture? Do you hang out with the Sangha, the community of practitioners? Right? This process helps you to actually map out what am I going to do to be successful in these categories? Your mental emotional health. If you haven't gotten good hypnotherapy yet, oh God, please do it. um, I'm not trying to get private clients here. I'm really saying like we have thousands, or well over 1,000 graduates. Like get good hypnotherapy because if you're struggling with something, you don't have to. The work is very fast. It's very effective. We figured out how to do it, and it's not a mystery anymore. So hypnotherapy is great for that. Get psychotherapy, get psychiatry, like whatever you need to heal your mind and heal your heart, do so. So imagine a mind that is clear, intelligent, excellent memory, divinely inspired, all just clear thinking. Great. And then the heart is open, not closed and suppressed, but open and free, where the Shakti, the life force, flows through without any hindrance. And then, of course, your physical health. This is programming your subconscious mind to exercise, to eat impeccably well, to maintain your ideal body weight, to get great sleep, to wake happy and refreshed, to get good health care. So when we talk about health, wealth, and enlightenment and interpersonal hypnotherapy, so the enlightenment part, spirituality, the mental emotional component of hypnotherapy, physical health, health, wealth, and enlightenment. Hypnotherapy is a career that can make some really nice money helping a lot of people. And then interpersonal is all about the relationships. So I hope you see that tonight's class, Interpersonal Hypnotherapy is a Path of Health, Wealth, and Enlightenment, is honoring the top 5 priorities. If you haven't done a priority exercise yet, really think about are you nurturing these top 5 things? Why are relationships, below this? If you were in a pure room, again, pure white room, not thinking I'm dumb, stupid, worthless, like we talked about before, what if you were in a space of pure consciousness and you said, I am love, I am light, I am peace, I am bliss, I am one with all beings, I have a divinely inspired mission, I'm here to help and heal the world. My mind is clear, my heart is open, my body is healthy, I am wealthy, I'm truly financially secure, I'm part of the FIRE movement, financially independent and retire early. I'm 53. I've been pretty well semi-retired, traveling the world, having so much fun since I was 42 years old. Now I'm taking my mission even more seriously. That's why I'm here tonight. But honestly, you get to a place of financial freedom where you just don't have to work as much, but you have so much more to give. It makes your relationship so much better. If you have children, you need money, right? If you have children, you need love. If you have a career, you definitely need divine guidance to be sure you're on the right track. So the model here is prioritize the top five. Again, on our website, here on the home page, if you go to free resources, the hypnotherapy care package has 6 meditations. One programs in your success for all these top five categories or all these categories. And then the other meditations go into the very specific spiritual, mental, emotional, physical health, career and finances, and relationships. To me, relationships are part of every category. We have spiritual teachers, we have the Sangha, we have spiritual community, mental, emotional health. You have a relationship with a therapist, perhaps, physical health, relationship with a personal trainer, the person you go jogging with, your career and finances. We have business relationships. So to me, the interpersonal part is part of everything we do. You could also make a list of the things you love to do for free time and recreation. I love, again, the FIRE movement, financially independent, retire early. Tim Ferriss, the 4 hour work week. I started studying that in my early 40s, and I'm like, cool, I'm going to work 4 hours a week and have tons of free time to do what I want. But what Tim Ferriss recommends in the book is make a list of all the things you want to do, because once you have all that free time, you can just go down that Google conspiracy theory rabbit hole, right? If you don't know what to do with yourself. Um, Make a list. Like I'm a advanced paragliding pilot. I've flown all over the world off of great, huge mountains, a kayak, great rivers, hiking the most amazing mountains. Like create an awesome life for yourself. Education, housing, travel, transportation, and philanthropy. One of the things you can program into your subconscious is all of my needs are met. So take a moment and think, is this the case? And breathe into it, because like I started the class tonight, all you have to do is put your attention on these ideas. All of my needs are met. I have all of the money I want for my needs, all the money I need for my needs. That's part of wealth, right? If you can't provide for yourself and your family, we're not in wealth yet. Also, your wants, not your egoic wants, but hey, I want to take this vacation. You can do so. I want to give some money to someone in need. You can do so, right? What do I want to do? The money's there to do it. I would suggest, as long as it's coming from spirit, again, not egoic, silly motivations, but truly divinely inspired ideas. Have you ever had a great idea and you're like, oh, I don't have the money to do it? Not wealth, not having the resources you need. So program into your subconscious, all your needs are met, all your wants are met. But next, all of your savings and investing are met. And go beyond savings when we talk about wealth. I'm going to give you some powerful wealth principles in just a moment. Don't just put money into a bank account thinking that fiat currencies are going to be the way to save. I would highly recommend, as you are growing in wealth consciousness, think about investing, right? Investors realize real assets count. Money, fiat currencies, right? The paper that, the US dollar is not backed by gold anymore. It's not actually worth anything except the agreements we all make about it. That system around the world is not doing as well as it used to, right? We're in a very precarious stage right now when it comes to fiat currencies. So, real wealth, land, real estate, gold, silver, lucrative businesses. Being a hypnotherapist is absolutely an asset. Being a life coach is an asset. If you could just take yourself, get online, let people know you have a service and you can make money no matter how they pay you in Bitcoin or whatever, right? You have something valuable to offer. That's part of wealth. So your needs are met, your wants are met, your savings and investments are met, and philanthropy. You have money to give away, right? Recently, someone came into my life and they said, hey, I needed money. And it was so great to be able to say, here you go. Just happened to get the other day. Same thing, like, people around me, you hear people who need money. It's like, how much do I need? Great, here you go. When you have wealth and you have money to give away, the spirit of philanthropy is so beautiful. So that's how I would encourage you to consider wealth. Are all of these categories successful? For now, for your current standard, right? If you said, once I have $5 million, I'll be wealthy. No, are your needs, wants, savings, and investments, and ability to give some money away? Is that met now? You don't have to, you make $100,000 a year, you might feel really wealthy. I mean, hypnotherapists, we have graduates who absolutely make more than that. Again, I can't promise what you make, but I'm telling you, we have graduates who make over 100,000 per year. We just had a graduate tell me in 2023, she made $250,000 doing just hypnotherapy. Think that kind of earns a little bit of the wealth category. But again, it's not just about money, it's about being of service to others. Do the math. If you charge $200 per session and you see 25 full paying clients per week, think about how much money you can make, right? 25 clients a week at $200 a session. If you did that, and again, I can't promise you will by going through a training like this, if you did that, you're doing really good. You have a really good income. And let's go to this page, not that one, this one, to talk about some principles. What I teach our students through the Whole Life Mastery course and our hypnotherapy training, which I'm happy to offer here, 10% of all I earn is mine to keep. If you're making $100,000 per year, save 10,000 of that. Put it automatically into another bank account. Invest it in a way where it's still somewhat liquid, right? You could have it when you need it. This teaching comes from The Richest Man in Babylon, the book called The Richest Man in Babylon, the difference between a slave mentality and a free person mentality. Um, the slave mentality is basically working for someone else, right? Having a job just over broke, right? And struggling to get by. Over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and most are seriously struggling in debt. But 10% of all I earn is mine to keep says, let's say you get a hypnotherapy practice going or whatever else you do, hypnotherapy could be a great adjunct to other things. Now you're making 100,000 per year. Take 10% of that as it comes in and save it. Now at the end of the year, you have $10,000. Go create another source of revenue, multiple prosperous sources of revenue. You can program this stuff in hypnotically. I'm a religious scholar. I don't have my MBA, but I actually make pretty good money just because I program my subconscious to do so. You put in the programming in, you're going to get the output. Again, all you have to do is put your attention on these ideas. I encourage you to have 7 or more multiple prosperous sources of revenue. The beautiful thing about these is you make money once they're automated, they happen whether you're working or not. Again, I spent hours in meditation today, and I can tell you thousands of dollars came in on a Sunday while I was meditating. The beauty of these processes really helps you to feel so wonderfully secure. Think about how much does your mind worry about money? I'm not saying mine doesn't, but I know what to do with this mind now. To get to the place where like, wow, so here's the statement you can program in. Again, just take it in right now. The money will always be there in abundance. Just put your hand on your heart, take a breath, feel it. The money will always be there in abundance. We want to get out of fear. The money will always be there in abundance, right? So you can create multiple prosperous sources of revenue through the power of your mind, and you create passive income, which means you're making money whether you're working or not. Program your subconscious to create real assets, like I said, not just savings in a traditional bank account, but think about real wealth, things that will always be valuable. Commodities, land is always, people are always going to need land. Silver, people watch the silver markets now. People really realize, wow, we need silver. Silver is really important. This is becoming more and more valuable. The US dollar, the Swiss franc, the euro, these, I'm pretty sure, a lot of these currencies are being devalued. They're losing the ability to be actual wealth. Think about what are real assets. And again, your own income streams are real assets. And diversify because nobody knows the future. So can you take the money that's coming in and all right, some's in gold, some's in silver, some's in ETFs, some's in stocks, some's in bonds, some's in real estate, some is in this business that I'm growing, some is in that business I'm growing. This isn't that hard to do. Just program these. It's like 10 things I have on here. If you program these 10 things into your mind, I don't see how you couldn't keep increasing your income. Live simply and well below your means. Decrease your debts, decrease your liabilities. If you make $1 million per year, see if you can only spend 500,000, right? our goals for this year. I won't tell you exactly here, but basically we have a goal that has like this much expenses, but I'm sorry, the expenses this year are this high, but the goal is double that. Right? So we'll just use loose numbers, not the exact numbers for the school or anything, but if your goal is 1 million per year, only spend 500,000. That's wealth. If you make 100,000, spend 100,000, you're not wealthy. You might be able to afford that lease on the Mercedes and you look wealthy, but are you really truly developing assets? Your car is not an asset unless you're driving Uber, right? You want things that actually make you money. And again, you just program your mind to do it. Set your goals and set your limits. One teaching I would encourage you to do is I'll tell my brief story. After I lived in India, I came back basically broke. So when I started seeing clients again, which was awesome because it was such a great career to fall back upon, within 1 month, I was seeing 25 full paying clients per week. 1 month, 25 clients a week. Once I got 5,000 in the bank again, which is scary to think about how, if that happened now, it'd be terrifying if it was only 5 grand. But at that point, I said, I will never go below 5 grand again. I'd encourage you to think about wherever you're at now, make that the benchmark, right? If you have only 5,000 in the bank, 5,000 net worth, it's not the same thing, but let's say net worth, never go below that. Then keep pushing. Like, okay, that's 10,000. I never go below that. The first 100,000 can be a lot harder to save, but you want to start considering that benchmark. Once you get to the 100,000 mark, it starts going a lot easier because you have wealth to help your money starts making more money. So set your goals. Again, high goals, dream big. Your subconscious can manifest anything. There's no difference between 10,000 and 10 million for the subconscious. It's really like there's nothing more abundance than the universe. It doesn't care if you add a zero to the end of it. And once you get to, all right, wow, I made 10,000 a month. Good. Bump it up to 50,000 a month. Bump it up to 100,000 a month. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know fact from fiction. It'll do whatever you program it to do, but also set the limits. So you tell your subconscious, we never go below $50,000 net worth. Like never again. We go below that. Just keep bumping it up. Why not? Money's an illusion. Have as much of it as you want. The power of compounding. So saving over time, compounded interest is an incredible way to achieve wealth. It's why somebody who's not only with total respect, but somebody who's a janitor who only saved $25 a week since his early 20s can retire as a millionaire, right? Just start putting some money away if you're not already. Use your time wisely. Program your subconscious to take action, to take massive action. People waste so much time. It's such a valuable commodity. So I meditate and I do nothing, but then the action comes from the centered space. So first we prioritize the spirituality, and then we use the time wisely because we're coming from enlightened, inspired action. Keep learning and keep acting. So again, get the education you need, but I would encourage you, because I see this in our graduates, don't be a perpetual student. I'm not going to open my practice. I need more training. I'm not going to see clients yet. I need more training. No, you really just need to take action. My experience of successful people is they just keep making mistakes and trying again. In Zen, Master Dogen called, I think it was Dogen, called it Shushaku Jushaku. A constant mistake, like one mistake after another. That's what you do. You just run forward with reckless abandon. You're going to make mistakes. It won't be perfect. Just get out there. That's what keep acting means, or take massive action instead of being a perpetual student or always planning, analysis paralysis. Leverage your social capital. You know a lot of people, and the networking, the compounded interest, the investment of really powerful relationships. I'm learning that more and more, especially working now with Lewis here. Really, the power of the community is so important. And then philanthropy. The theme is if you want something, give it away. Program your subconscious mind to give, not just to get. If you think about, all right, what is my wealth? What do I own? Okay, I own land, I own real estate, I own gold, I own silver, I own businesses, uh, whatever, but what that you might say that's wealth, but honestly, find ways to give that to others. Find a need and fill it and just keep working to help blessing others. The law of giving and receiving. All that I give is given to me. So why do I teach health, wealth, and enlightenment? Totally selfish, right? I want it. I want you to have it. The more we all have it, the better off we are. It's not selfish, it's selfness, right? We do this as one big self. Okay, so I hope that helps to think about programming. Let's spend a little time on the enlightenment theme, then we'll go to Q&A and wrap it up. We have a retreat coming up here I live in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York. And we have the new Anahat Monastery happening at New Vita Preserve. Yoga, meditation, Zen, Anahat meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, A Course in Miracles, hypnosis, nature walks, vegan, vegetarian meals. It's happening April 23rd to the 26th. And some of you who are here are going to be there, so I can't wait to be with you. But yeah, there's still space available. We're doing this. This is the lodge you're seeing, but we're actually doing it at the mansion up on the top of the hill to the left there. So we'll be surrounded by gorgeous mountains, meditating, building community. So yeah, open to the public. You guys are more than welcome to join. You can find that on our website. Um, let's talk about the Enlightenment. So this is a big part of the Enlightenment theme. Um, one of my books is called The Sutras on Healing and Enlightenment, a spiritually based approach to mind-body healing. So to me, healing and enlightenment are synonymous terms. They both arise with the knowledge and awareness of truth. That's one of the first sutras in the book. Healing and enlightenment are synonymous terms. When we shift from I'm stupid to I'm intelligent or I'm unlovable to I'm lovable, the emotion shifts, right? I'm unlovable and that makes me sad. I know I'm lovable. That makes me joyful. It's true that you're lovable. It's not just that it's a healing thought, it's an enlightening thought. So healing and enlightenment are synonymous terms. If you're interested in this whole trajectory of our school, Facilitating Enlightenment is my newest book. Interpersonal Hypnotherapy is a Path of Self-Realization, and Interpersonal Hypnotherapy, Honoring the Sacred in Transformational Relationships, and then Peace Under All Circumstances. This book is for free on YouTube as an audiobook if you'd like. Okay, I just want you to get a sense of like the heart of the work here. Let's talk a little bit more about the enlightenment process, though. These images were custom drawn for my Facilitating Enlightenment book. We talked about them in the last Sunday night class. So just a brief overview. In the beginning here, we start seeking. We're looking for something more. Eventually, we find the teachings of um, yes. Aman, welcome. Yeah, at the end I can talk to you about getting this PowerPoint, I think is what you said there. So yeah, I'll look at the chat pod in a moment. So we start by seeking the bull, seeking the ox. This means that we're looking for spirit. We're looking for reality. We're looking for the truth. We're looking for the enlightened state. Not everybody's doing that, but eventually some people wake up and we start doing that. You've either suffered enough or you've had a taste of what the enlightened state is. In Zen, that's often referred to as Satori, like the first glimpse, or in Jainism, it's called Samyak Darshan, the first glimpse of the self, the first time that we experience who we are. That's actually step 3. But some people just have that first glimpse. Yes, I will definitely get you guys the PowerPoint, and this will be on a recording on YouTube within 24 hours. Thank you. My assistant Jelly, who's here now. Thank you. Right, we start searching for the truth. Eventually, we hear the teachings. If you're on the path, but you're still confused, find a teacher. The teachings in Buddhism is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, a teacher, a set of core teachings you trust, and a community of practitioners. We've used that model for the school. World Happiness Foundation uses that model, right? We have teachers, we have teachings, we have a community. Buddha's been doing that for 2,500 years. Christianity, Jesus has been doing that for 2,000 years. It works, right? You go to church, you got your priest, you got your Bible, you got the congregation, the community. That works. So the footprints are the teachings of the masters. Eventually, you'll start experiencing the beauty of your own soul. That's stage 3. You've tapped in, you've realized, whoa, there's something amazing inside of me as me. I'm what I'm looking for. But that's just a glimpse. Then the real work begins in stage 4 or 5. The ox here becomes your ego, your not just your ego, but your body, mind, and emotions, right? The mind is chaotic, the heart is closed. We're running around in the past and the future, we're looking out in the world for other things. Our mind is never present. The ox is basically your monkey mind and the disturbed emotional heart and an undisciplined body. Eventually, we start learning to tame the mind, train the mind, open and clear the heart, train the body to exercise, to do yoga, to be flexible, to meditate. And eventually, in stage 5, it starts getting much more balanced, harmonious. It's not so hard. You don't need as much spiritual discipline or spiritual practice. Stage 6 is called riding the bull or riding the ox home. It's where you're in a state of meditative bliss, honestly, most of the time, and things are just unfolding much more naturally. Life isn't so hard. You're moving from grace to grace. You're moving from joy to joy. Opportunities and experiences happen effortlessly. We work in these teachings to align you with the law of least effort. The law of least effort. True creating manifesting happens with effortless ease. You prioritize the highest. You prioritize enlightenment. Everything else takes care of itself. You start functioning trying to fix all your problems, doesn't work as well. Go to the highest, find the spiritual clarity, and then watch your life start unfolding through grace. That's what stage 6 simply stated is. Stage 7 often involves a deep turning within, finding the meditative bliss, spending more time in absolute bliss consciousness, and aligning with source to know your mission and your purpose. I program every client with hypnosis. You have a mission and a purpose. You are valuable. You are important. I've never had anybody disagree with me, so I hope you'll take it in right now. You're valuable and you're important. If you disagree, let's look at this chart for a moment. Um, do we not have those on here? Well, worthless, useless. Yeah, here. Not important, not valuable. Those are the ego's lies, right? It's the part of your mind telling you untruths. You want to awaken to who you really are. You're valuable, you're important, you have a mission, you have a purpose. It's only in deep meditation that we find that because no one else can tell you. You have to find it inside yourself. So, in the silence of your own soul, which stage 7 is just a lot of time spent there, then I'm not saying you'll have to wait to stage 7, but the more time you spend inside, you're going to get the downloads of what you're meant to do with your life, who you're going to be when you grow up. Stage 8 isn't here, it's just an empty circle. Essentially, we could say that's the enlightened state, but there are stages of enlightenment that we're looking at here. Stage 9 is, you notice, there's no more person. It's just your oneness with all that is. You are the mountains, the trees, the rivers. You're every person, you're every child, you're every homeless person. You care about all of them because they're you. That basically leads to stage 10, entering the marketplace with helping hands, the return to society, or the descending path. You come back down from the top of the mountain. Metaphorically speaking, I actually live on the top of a mountain and seldom actually leave this wonderful home. The Tao Te Ching, the Chinese scripture, it basically says you can heal the whole world in a deep meditative state as a recluse. You never have to leave your little hut. But with the internet, that's so true, right? We can absolutely help to heal the world. When I lived at a Zen monastery, we had a discussion. This was back in the 90s. Would Buddha use the internet? Would he use a computer? Well, I don't even think we were talking internet then. It was like 1996 or so. The question was, would Buddha use a computer to help to heal the world? And I'm like, no, if you want to see a tree, go outside and sit under a tree. You don't need to see a tree in a computer. I just thought computers were for pretty pictures. Now that we have the internet and AI and the incredible power to reach the whole world, you can literally heal the world through your bedroom and you can build significant health, wealth, and enlightenment literally without leaving your house. So, the spiritual path to me is what it's all about: health, wealth, and enlightenment. But enlightenment is really the first one, right? Prioritize the spirituality, all things are added onto you. Is Someone once said 2,000 years ago, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all its righteousness, and all things are added on to you. So, anyway, Institute of Hypnotherapy.com, our school, the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. We do have a class starting in the 10th. There is still space for online and in person. And I hope tonight helped you. Well, I'll stay around for Q&A. We can stay as long as you like. But I hope tonight gave you a good sense of what we're all about, because there's hypnosis trainings, and then there's, for me, a path of healing and enlightenment. And if this resonates with you, yeah, I'd love to connect with you more. Um, so let's see what's in the chat pod. It's open to discussion. If you need to go, no problem. I won't be offended. Paula said, changing the paradigm of mind, body, and soul to soul, mind, and body. Beautiful. Thank you, Paula. That's the order, right? Spirit, mind, body. Think of the chakra system. The way our life mastery course works, things manifest from high to low, as above, so below. You think you're stupid and worthless, below in your life, not going to be so good. Know who you are, spirit. Get your mind aligned with spirit. A Course in Miracles says, I think the thoughts I think with God. That'll get your heart all clear and open. That'll get your body healthy. In A Course in Miracles, peace is health. Peace is health. Prioritize inner peace. That's you as soul. Your mind will reflect it. Your emotions will reflect it. Your body will reflect it. But because you're in touch with soul, mission and purpose are there. That'll come down through you and out into your life. That's called your dharma, your mission, your purpose. Anything else what you do will always lead to some sort of weird failure. They're like, why is this not working? Because you're not doing what you're meant to do. The Bhagavad Gita said it's better to do your dharma poorly than someone else's dharma well. Do your dharma as good as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't try to do someone else's. You're not meant to be a Wall Street stock trader. Don't waste your time with it. You're here to heal the world, right? Doesn't mean you won't invest the money that comes in, but if you only make money to make money, it's not going to be dharmic. Find a need and fill it. Help others to heal. So we talk about assets like gold and silver and whatnot. People, people are the asset. The community is the asset. So yes, thank you, Paula. It's through soul, mind, body that we connect with others. And yes, beautiful. May I kindly ask if it would be possible for us to obtain the PowerPoint materials from the earlier session as contents are interesting and valuable, our learning. The best way for me to get you that is I can upload it to the chat pod, but even easier, just shoot me an email. I'll put it out publicly, Matthew@anahataeducation.com. If you email me, Matthew at 2T's at anahataeducation.com, I will be happy to email that to you as well. And the replay tomorrow, within 24 hours, this will be on YouTube. Amanda said, please tell me what stage of the ox return stages would be days of looping mental angers and hurts mixed with days of stepping towards healing and enlightenment and actions. Sure, nice question. Again, you can find these very well explained in my book, Interpersonal Hypnotherapy, Facilitating Enlightenment, Sacred Geometry Meditation, and the Anahat Meditation System. I've literally put this in 4 of my 6 books, and it's in our uh, transpersonal training as well. It's just such a great model. So um, Amanda is talking about a struggle. So if you're talking about enlightenment and healing, like you're getting glimpses of enlightened consciousness, you're finding inner peace, you're finding inner bliss, you're finding joy, you're feeling connection with spirit, but you're still dealing with the heart and mind, that's very much stage 4 and 5. You're somewhere in the midst. And by the way, I will never tell you what stage I'm at, and I never tell you what stage you're at, but I'm working to answer your question. Consider this not linear. Consider it as a circle, and you're expanding in all these directions. Stage 1 is the beginner's mind. We should always have that. Stage 10, we're in the marketplace with helping hands, helping others. We should always be doing that, and should is, consciously used there. But spiritual discipline is largely what again, the eighth picture isn't here because it's just an empty circle. But 4, 5, and 6 have a lot to do with spiritual discipline. You start learning yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, devotional chanting. You start going to spiritual communities. But even more than that, what I would recommend is get some good hypnotherapy. Struggling with meditation to heal your heart. I lived in India. I was doing hypnotherapy in India, and I can tell you, I've done hypnotherapy and very advanced yogis who have meditated for 30 years, and they still have the same stuff in their heart as any other human being. You can meditate on the highest level of consciousness and spiritual bypass and totally neglect your subconscious mind. It'll still cause health problems. It'll still cause behavioral problems. You'll be enlightened, but it'll keep pulling you down. When that's happening, it's still very much that you're struggling against the ox. The relative peace you'll have is going to be stage 6 and into stage 7. Stage 8, 9, and 10, you're basically consolidating all the knowledge. You're sensing the oneness and your mission, and you come forth. The Course in Miracles says, when you're ready, you don't go alone, you walk with mighty companions by your side. So, yeah, at first, physician, heal thyself, be a healed healer. Then you get out there and start healing the world. Um, Great. Thank you. Alexandra said, I was wondering if you could speak a bit to symptomatology and whether these are effects resulting from imbalances, subconscious belief systems, or others, or if they are potentially resulting from karmic unfolding from past lifetimes. Yes, it's both, seemingly without a cause in this lifetime. I know there are many perspectives, but I was wondering, given your background, if you've come to a conclusion on this. Sure. Thank you for sharing. It was very rich and much appreciated. My pleasure. And yeah, if anybody needs to log off, no problem. I understand we tend to go long here. Alexandra, so beautiful question. Let's go to the full screen and go back to that if we need to. All right, connect with you guys a little more. So, okay. So the question again is symptoms related from imbalances from this lifetime or blockages in this lifetime or past lives? Yes, both. They say that you don't necessarily remember your past lives because you have enough to deal with in this lifetime, right? Most people can't even deal with their own childhood traumas. My experience has been those traumas, or in Sanskrit, we use the term sanskar, mental impressions, a memory with beliefs and emotions, right? A sanskar, a mental impression. Like I said earlier, dad comes home drunk, he yells and he hits you, memory, beliefs, emotions that absolutely could cause physiological symptoms, psychosomatic illness, right? You're holding that block inside. It's affecting every level and definitely your physiology. The same exact thing is true for past lives. Even if you guys, some of you might not believe in past life regression works because we bring up this story of a past life. It could be real memories, it might be a metaphorical journey, but the subconscious really doesn't know the difference anyway. So when you go through a past life memory of negative beliefs and emotions and you heal it, you are healed from that. You can't not be. If you had a quote, past life personality who thought that he or she was stupid or bad, let's say bad, right? I'm a bad sinner because in a past life I murdered someone. Oh, that'll definitely affect you now because that thought doesn't exist in the past. It exists now. In A Course in Miracles, it says, is reincarnation so? It says, strictly speaking, reincarnation is impossible because you've never been a body. However, you can certainly think you were a body. But anyway, it says, you can be healed whether you believe in reincarnation or not, because the error that needs correction isn't in the past, it's here now. And if in a past life I concluded I'm worthless, it's here now. I feel worthless now. If in my childhood I concluded I'm worthless, I feel worthless now. Only that belief can only be healed in the now. But here's the teaching. Memories act as reinforcing evidence for your negative beliefs and emotions. Dad hit me and told me that I'm bad. Now I'm bad. It's sometimes hard to correct the error in the mind that the person is bad because inner dad is in there telling you how bad you are. If that's in present life or past life, it's the same cause effect relationship. Heal the cause, the effect just drops away. So thank you, Alexandra. I hope that helped. Thanks, RuPaul. Um, I've been depressed for 3 years and have been out of work for 2 years. My mom passed away 3 years ago, and I have been feeling low. I'm feeling better this I think it says year. I need your advice. I was a deep meditator when I was young, but now I feel not so connected. Sorry to hear about the challenges. At the same time, I would offer this thought. A Course in Miracles teaches all things work for good. There's something you might look into in Stages of Spiritual Growth, the Dark Night of the Soul teachings by St. John of the Cross. Kind of deep book, and the poem itself is really short, but if you get some good commentary on the Dark Night of the Soul teachings, the first thing people go through quite often is not the Dark Night of the Soul, it's called the Dark Night of the Sense. Dark Night of the Sense means you're not happy, dark night, and all this stuff is taken away from you. You don't have the job, you don't have the relationships. You're losing that things that you think are valuable of the world, which includes people. It can be a really hard stage. But eventually, you start prioritizing your inner enlightenment process. You're finding the peace, the love, the bliss, the joy within you. It's still inside of you. So, one thing I could say for RuPaul here is you haven't lost your power. You haven't lost your light, your love, your bliss, your joy. It's still all there. But quite often we value external things and we think they're making us happy. They're the source of our love or safety or comfort. But it's impermanent, as Buddha saw. So when it goes away, because it will, prioritize what's inside of you. Find out who you are and find out your mission. Once you tap back into that, then that's good. Eventually, you go through the dark night of the soul, which is actually a more advanced stage. But here, it sounds a bit like dark night of the sense. But either way, no matter what dark night you're in, and there's many dark nights, it's not only two, but they're, all the dark night of the sense stages where stuff is falling away, and dark night of the soul stages where you can't even find your connection in the spirit. But here's something you can know that'll help. This always leads to the perfect union and divine love. In Course in Miracles, it says, I thank you, God, for your guarantee of only happy outcomes. All things work for good. It's a guarantee of only happy outcomes. So what I always teach people is just prioritize number one, know who you are. Like keep asking, who am I? Who am I? Just find out who you are. And then what am I meant to do? What's my purpose? Who am I? What is my purpose? When that becomes the highest priority, there's nothing more satisfying than the bliss of your soul and being of service to humanity. The other things that were really important, just you could, here's one statement. And I'm not saying it for people, because I honor losing a parent. You feel that. But still, even with people, I'm just being gentle when I say this, they become less and less important. Obviously, you get me. People are important, but not as a source of my happiness, because we're all one. But um, the external things, less and less important. But when we don't have a job, and relationships aren't quite where we want them to be, yeah, my experience is prioritize knowing who you are and why you're here. It's always going to be of service to others. Once you're back in alignment with that, or you're in alignment with that, everything else takes care of itself. All right, I really hope that helps. Sky said, thank you for your contribution, Matthew. I hugely appreciate this and hope to get more involved with IH in the future. Thank you, Sky. My pleasure. Thank you. All right, anybody else give me some thanks? Rapal said, I don't understand. I feel I have ADHD since 6 months, cannot focus like I used to. So I have psychosomatic past lives issue. What I would say is the ADHD symptomatology, when we end up with that label, it's because the heart's not okay. The heart is the root of the mind. I'm not speaking diagnosis. I'm not pretending to be a psychiatrist or anything, but your heart is the root of your mind. The more upset this is, the more this thing talks. This will never shut up if this isn't okay, because this is a problem-solving intelligence, but it can't actually figure out the solution. The change has to occur in the heart. I'm working with a client now with ADHD, and we're making major progress because we're addressing the hurt, the sadness, the fear, the anger, the guilt. Once that's cleared, the light starts shining through again. The mind gets much clearer. So, yes, past lives, but honestly, childhood. I would say 90% of what we as humans need to focus on to get free is childhood, not just past lives. Once you clear enough childhood stuff, the past life stuff starts coming up anyway. It does. It's been my experience with yourself and clients. But yeah, basically,
Psychiatrist?
to get over this challenge that you're in,
Psychiatrist?
heal your mind, heal heal the heart, heal the mind. Ivana, did you want to share? Your mic is open. Great. Thanks, RuPaul. Beautiful. So yeah, just finding peace in the heart. All right, let's wrap it up. It's been over an hour and a half. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. This recording will be posted. Feel free to email me if you like. But what I'll do is I'll stop recording. If anyone wants to sign off, you can. And then I'll upload the PowerPoint to the chat for those who want to stay. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening and many blessings.